And good afternoon, Buffaloes Nation, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy fans, into another season of the official Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy podcast, the Buffaloes podcast, on your home of U22 hockey here in the province of Manitoba, on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. I'm your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. Really happy to be back here on this Wednesday afternoon. This is most likely going to be the showtime moving forward for this year, except for maybe next week we have a bit of a different time because it's going to be quite chaotic. We've been quite busy over the summer months, over the off season, securing our league partnerships for the upcoming seasons, which we've been able to successfully do that and add even more into our programming this year. Happy to announce that we're the official broadcast partner of the Winnipeg High School Hockey League now, adding to our broadcast family of now four total, I guess. We cover this academy in Pilot Mound, and then we cover three other leagues. So continuing to grow the brand here. And speaking of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, we're going to have a chance to broadcast some of their games on our network this year, as their U18 female program is going to be competing in the Central Plains Capital Showcase, the Female Cap Showcase, coming up on September 19th to 21st in Port La Prairie, Manitoba. We have our bundle available now. You can purchase single games. The games haven't been uploaded yet. We're going to be doing that over the next little bit leading up to the tournament, but I believe we'll have at least two Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy games on the schedule, as the female Buffs will be in action during that weekend. Really excited for it. One of the biggest events we've ever done, probably the biggest event we've ever done in our broadcast history. And as for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, well, their history, it got even richer last year. 3 out of their 4 programs ended up making it to championship games. One of them took home not only a championship, but their second in program history in the U17 Male Prep Buffaloes. And it's just great to see how this academy continues to grow, how the level of hockey continues to rise, and they continue to give their athletes, the folks in charge over there at Pilot Mountain, the best experience possible there in small town Pilot Mountain, Manitoba. And as for all the athletes for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, a few weeks ago now, it was opening day at the academy, where getting a chance to talk to Nichole Collins, general manager of the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffaloes, said that in total they fed over 200 people, student athletes, their parents, family members, and yeah, look at all those student athletes over there in front of those beautiful dorms as they get set and ready to go for this upcoming season. Nichole Collins is going to be joining the show next, as she's going to be coming on here to talk about the latest additions to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy on the hockey development side of things, how opening day went, and some other things as well. Looking forward to this one with the general manager of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy and Nichole Collins. We hope you are too, and the return to podcasting here on your home for U22 hockey in the province of Manitoba on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Nichole joins the show next. General Manager of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, Nichole Collins, joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 1, the first episode of season 3. Nichole, opening day was, well, I guess, about a week ago. From this point when we're talking now. As always, it seems like it was a success. Take us through what transpired this year's opening day between everyone at the dorms in Pilot Mountain, Manitoba.
For sure. So opening day is my favorite day of the year. This year it was perfect, to the point where we were wondering what we missed or what we did wrong, because it went off so well. Kids were happy, excited to be here, nervous, of course. All the staff was excited to welcome everyone back and welcome the new faces. We fed out of our own garden and whatnot, over 200 people of student athletes and all their families. So it is truly, truly a really cool day to see everybody come together. And I quite like the little speech I do, because it resonates for who we are actually quite well. Is that why we built the academy, that we did it to keep the community viable, but also to create a space for student athletes to have a no distractions hockey development atmosphere. And we do that quite well. And it really resonates for me on day one when everybody's there and here for all the same reasons. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, to promise to the moms to take care of their babies, that we will make them into good people and we will make sure they're cared for, and promises to the dads that we will push them and make them better humans and better hockey players and accountable for their own journeys. So I think everybody left the day feeling confident and comfortable. And now we're, like you say, 5, 6 days in, and we're into routine, and it's like we've been doing it for months. So we're doing great so far this year.
Yeah, and there's already some matchups coming up for the female U18 program in this academy, which we'll get to later on in this interview, of course. But I know last time we spoke in the season two finale, one of the things that you mentioned is one of the owners on last year's opening day kind of indicated that they felt that everything was kind of in a perfect place for the most part. You said that hockey development was going to be the big focus heading forward into the future, and of course, one of the steps of the near future being this year is finally here. Can you let us in on what the academy has been doing, maybe during the off season? Well, people have been away to maybe enhance the hockey development side of things at the academy even more so.
For sure. So sticking to that promise, absolutely. We've been building out some programming. So think of it like hockey mentorship, but in a place where we actually care versus, other areas where you don't have that much hands-on. So on the ice, the hockey development side continues as we do to develop student athletes, get them ready for the next level and to be successful in our teams. We're trying to add different skill sessions. So in addition to our regular practice times, having some focused skill development, skate correction, all of those kinds of things in addition to our regular programming. And then we're taking it off the ice a little bit. Of course, video replay and all of those fun things continue, but we're implementing a train your brain program as well as a hockey IQ program. So that is all part of the one-to-one and team-based mentorship that we're doing as part of our hockey development pathway, where we spend time with the student athletes in a classroom or an individual setting, and we work on what does that mental prep look like? How do we get ready for games? How do we shake off a bad game? How do we get rid of those jitters? How do we set ourselves and dial in on a consistent basis? And then the hockey IQ is really taking what we're learning on the ice and replicating it into that classroom scenario so we can see it through video, we can see it through scenario, we can play it out in our heads off the ice, and that'll resonate back onto the ice. So we're taking more of a fulsome and wholesome approach to our hockey development processes and pathways to be a full 360 all-inclusive experience. So we're excited to launch that. I believe it starts next week, rolling some of that programming out, in addition to, of course, our regular on ice every day, in the gym every day, family dinner every day, all of the things that we continue to do well on a regular basis.
Yeah, and excited to see that roll out once it does. All the fun development stuff you guys have in the programs and on tap this year. But taking, like you said, more of that approach of being in the classroom and studying the game and mentioning, the value of caring. And one of the big things about Pilot Mountain, as we've spoken many times before, is how family oriented it is and family first this academy is specifically. Do you feel that that all ties together and plays into a unique or a great benefit for this academy moving forward? Maybe giving them a step up compared to other academies out there in this regard.
I think so for sure. Our business model is dorm style, boarding school style, but we take that to a different level where, like you say, we are family focused. So we're built by family, we're run by family, we're in a town that's full of family. We say that when we recruit student athletes and on opening day, you are now forever a part of the Buffaloes family, and that never changes. And you see that in how, say, we run our supper hour, for example. It's phones off. They're in a bucket. Everybody sits down as a family to have dinner, and we visit and we learn about each other. We also indicate no man gets left behind. If you see somebody on their own, it's up to you to pick them up and make sure they're still part of the group, those kinds of things, which lots of academies do. Our league is really great that way. But ours truly can take that family focus because how we've implemented our academy is how we run our family, our Collins family. And we're proud of that. So when the student athletes are here, they truly do feel that they're part of a great big family. So that means sometimes you don't get along and sometimes you do, but it's all part of the great experience that prepares you into adulthood to know what truly family means. And that doesn't necessarily mean blood. It means connection and community and culture and always, going through a wall for each other and being there for each other and being able to recognize when somebody needs you and step up. So that's what family is to us.
Yeah, and I mean, hockey is a great sport, like you said, to basically connect like a family, even though you may not be blood. There's a lot of great brotherhoods and sisterhoods that have been built in this sport, specifically, that's for sure. For Pallet Mound, this hockey academy, it was year 10 last year, and quite successful year 10 at that. Saw three teams go to the finals, the U18 male program, the U15 males, and of course the U17 male program, who ended up capturing their second title in franchise history, first since pre-COVID. And then there's just improvements all around with the male U18s winning over 10 games for the first time in their history. And, all around, the U15s went from last to 11th place. Speaking of the U15s as well, four players get invited to Team Manitoba camp. Hildebrand and Landerville making it out of those four. Brett Biors and Maddox Ramage were also invited. And then Sadie Swanton making the Team Manitoba female squad. A lot of uh, pluses, a lot of benefits last year, and all around a successful season. I think you'd agree with that, Nichole. Take me through what that ride was like once again, getting to see all those benefits roll out as they did.
Very exciting, very proud. Sadie Swanton as a female rising those ranks, proud as a retired female hockey player, watching our three other teams move up and dig deep and get to where they were in the finals. That was really impressive. And if you'd have seen us in the office here watching it was actually wasn't the final game. It was the semifinals, and like it was a nail biter, and we were behind, and Freddie scores with 3 seconds left, and it was just crazy. That was really cool, and Coach Rick is gonna and the boys are gonna forever remember that game. That was yeah. I felt like we were back in the game then. We rose up through the ranks. It was a good team, and it's a grinding team that just does the work, and that paid off that game. And just it showed us what we can do when we're ready for it and we want it, and then took it all the way to the end. So that was pretty cool. And the other two teams should have had that championship too. So hopefully that is making them hungry for this year, and we know what we need to work on and get ready for. But that definitely sparks a new drive for coaches and student athletes to want more. So we're excited to see what this year brings for sure.
Yeah, and that's always what's really exciting and promising about the new year is how much promise there can be, and the fact that it's a new year that you could potentially build on last year's success or get even better. A lot of opportunity in store this upcoming year, but yeah, by the way, that U17 team beat St. George's School in that semis game to get to the finals to beat North Shore, the Warriors 7-0. But talked about some personal achievements for players like the Team Manitoba selections for Hildebrand, Landerville, as well as Swanton. But all around, there was some college commitments, university commitments, and junior commitments or signings that took place over this offseason, and even success from alumni winning championships in some different places. Talk about how proud that makes you in that aspect, getting to see this academy being recognized now as well as being recognized for its past members.
For sure. And we're starting to see that, and our name is getting out there. And the spring is almost as exciting as the playoff time because then that's the next level and people are getting recognized and they're getting tryouts and they're getting offers. And then we're hearing from our alumni, they're calling, and or else we're seeing where they're going next and making sure that they're recognizing us as part of their hockey development and human journey. So we get pretty excited that the family keeps getting bigger year over year, and everybody keeps coming home and touching base at home with their achievements, which is pretty special. That we've built that bridge that's long enough and wide enough that everybody fits and is always checking in with what they're doing. So yeah, that is really exciting for sure.
I'm going to dial into the female U18s for this portion of the interview here because it's been a challenge, to say the least, I'd say, in terms of how this team's record has looked, trying to get back to that place where they were pre-COVID, where they were competing for a championship that season. Even though they didn't have over 10 wins or reach 10 wins in CSSHL play yet again last year. They did see quite a bit of success in exhibition play. Seems like this coaching staff, now that has got some stability in place, had this group heading in the right direction. Last year, as the season went along, really competitive end to the season, even though they lost all their playoff games down in Penticton. But yeah, just take us into what the goal is, the hopes for this year's U18 female team to potentially see more success out on the ice.
For sure. So it's a younger team this year, so it's a bit of a building team, but Coach Ryan's excited about that because then everybody's ready and young and eager to learn. The female division's interesting. Outside of a couple of really strong, maybe stacked teams, the rest of the teams in the league are within 1 to 2 goals of each other. So if you lose a game by a goal and you end up down in the ranks a little bit, it doesn't mean that you're not strong. It's just a really solid, even division. So where if when I watch our girls is we never give up. The fight in those girls is crazy and I love watching it and they just never quit. And so to keep that momentum going and then work on the finish side of things. So if we can get that goal or two and then clinch a few more wins and get us up into even the middle of the pack and stay there, which is where we should be, and get that confidence up, I think we're gonna have a really successful year.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, a thing to note is how hard this group works. They started to, take more of a defensive approach as the season went along. This program's always had strong goaltending. Excited to see if they've added some more firepower. Maybe that could help boost this team's ranking coming up this season. Can't wait to get into that with Gordie Tumilson. But staying on this U18 female squad, Nichole, they play coming up in a showcase, a preseason tournament, I guess we could call it that, in Swift Current. They'll be taking on teams like the Wildcats and some other AAA teams this weekend. Hockey already back, even though it's the first week of September. What's that preparation been like for that group as we near the first game of the season for them, which is going to be tomorrow by the time we record this interview?
For sure. So they just got on the bus an hour ago, so they're ready to go. They had a bit more, they did the same routine as everybody else. They went through the fitness testing. They're on the ice. They got a couple more ice sessions than the boys just to get themselves ready to get on the road. They have another practice tomorrow morning when they get to Swift, and then they play tomorrow night. And the big one, why we like going early this time of year for the girls team is to get those jitters out, learn to play as a team, learn about each other a little bit more, especially some of these girls that have left their AAA program at home and are playing them in a tournament like this. It's good to take that time to, again, set yourself, dial in, get ready, and learn to play as a Buffalo. So this is a really good trial weekend to gel as a team that we find with the female team specifically.
Yeah, and this Buffalo's team is going to be taking on the Medicine Hat College Rattlers. Swift Current Wildcats to open up the Rattlers to end things off, and taking on U16 Team Saskatchewan Green on the Saturday. So not just playing AAA teams, but teams from all sorts of levels and divisions in this great sport of hockey. But before we end things off here, Nichole, I'm gonna keep the trend going by asking you this as a final question in terms of what I guess the goal is for this season coming up. We've talked about the past 2 years. You've made appearances on the podcast. Seems like everything's kind of in line for things to keep up successfully where things are at with Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, with the way the dorms are set up, the world-class facilities that this program has built and established. But what would be the big goal now that everything kind of has been established for this 2025-2026 season?
Well, Graham, you know our family. We're never just established and happy with what we've got. We got to keep building. So we have one big surprise coming in a couple of months that will be on this podcast that we'll reveal. So wait for that. as well as we're continuing to lobby to Hockey Manitoba and Hockey Canada for expansion of 2 more teams. So we will continue to push that. And once we get that, we'll expand the dorms to accommodate those 2 teams. So excited for when that day finally comes there. For the 4 teams we had, we've talked about the female team for sure. The 17s, I'm excited to see what they do this year. Probably about half of that team is returning. So they already gel really well together and they're strong, and pretty excited to see what the boys and Coach Rick come up with on the ice for those guys. The U15s always newer because they're the U15s and first into the academy, but excited to welcome some student athletes that hopefully stay for 3 or 4 years and to build that team out. Some young ones, some returning players, a lot of new faces there for sure. So they've got their work cut out for them to learn to gel as a team and get ready to play some big teams for the first 13 games actually. So it's going to be they're going to have to dial in for sure for those games. And then our 18 boys they're a great big team. I'm not sure how many are 6'5", but there's at least a line of them out there that are that big. So we're excited to see what Coach Anthony and Coach Mason come up with on that team. They worked hard all summer with a strategy and a goal in mind, and I'm excited to see that come to fruition as well, because that'll be another surprise that comes out with what happens on that team. So yeah, lots of things happening. We're never stagnant. We're happy with where we are. We think it's perfect, which means then it's time to get bigger and better and continue to fine tune what we do well.
I love the mindset, and that's news to me about what's going to be announced on this podcast coming up later this month or in the next few episodes, whenever that may be. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing how this season goes for all 4 teams in the academy as the U17s getting set to defend their Division Two title. The U18s, U15s, and other teams all looking to improve, as well as the U17s. Nichole Collins, general manager of the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffaloes, joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Nichole, always a pleasure. Best of luck this season. I wish you well and can't wait till we reconnect next time.
Thanks so much. You as well, Graham.
And always great to catch up with Nichole Collins, general manager of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, as we take a look at what the state of the program is heading into the new year. For Nichole, she ended up saying in that interview that they're looking to add more programs into the academy, which would be awesome to see. But for now, as we saw last year, and as it's been for the past few years, there's going to be 4 teams in total competing throughout Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy this season. U15 prep, U17 prep, U18 prep, and female U18 prep. And speaking of home games, of how many times Buffalo's programs are going to be playing in Pilot Mountain this season. Here's when it's going to start. September 26th for the U15s against Edge School. Quite a few home games on the schedule to start off the first half of the schedule. Going to be interesting to see what's added on to the second half of the schedule once we get to 2026. As for the male U17s, they're not going to be starting their home schedule until a little bit later compared to the U15s, as on October 10th they'll start off against Saha, playing, I guess all of their home games have been released, maybe the U15s. These are all the home games they'll be playing, and then 2026 is all on the road. We'll keep you up to date with that as the season goes along here on the Buffaloes podcast. As for the U18 female prep Buffaloes, however, they were the first team to get things rolling, as they ended up going down to Swift Current, Saskatchewan this past weekend to take on a variety of teams. Gordie Tumilson and myself, we touch on that a little bit, but more so talking about recruiting and marketing in his first appearance back on the Buffaloes podcast and the return to podcasting here on your home for U22 hockey in the province of Manitoba on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Gordie Tumilson joins the show next. It's a familiar face joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Always great to have him on, and Gordie Tumilson. Gordie, it seems like summer just went by in a flash, which it very well did, honestly. It feels like it went by faster than usual this year, but that always seems to be the updated story year in and year out. How have you been? How's things for Gordie down with Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, even though you're in Winnipeg?
Well, first of all, good to be back, and you're a nice fresh face and getting going at the beginning of the season. By the time the 30th one of these things is over, well, I'm not quite as not quite as piss and vinegar, but that's okay. We're ready to go. Good summer, short. The folks in Pilot Mountain, I don't think they get a summer. They farm, so I guess they get summer, and they know that. But the end of the day, it's just got to the thing that ends on the 30th of June, and boom, it's the 30th of August, and they're back at it full bore. And I'm not sure they get much of a break, and the folks there. So I'm lucky to be in Winnipeg and not sort of hunkered down in the center of the eye of the hurricane. So it's kind of fun. But yeah, good summer, good rest, and ready to go as you said, the start of the season here.
Well, yourself, you've been busy on the marketing side of things, of course, a part of the recruitment side of things as well. Start off with marketing. How have the marketing endeavors been? I know from our conversations behind the scenes, seems like there's been some interesting and exciting things cooking up.
Well, there's all kinds of things that could happen. There's marketing is kind of funny. You do a lot of preparation, a lot of work, and then all of a sudden, boom, something happens. Like, oh, you didn't expect it to happen today or it's today. So, yeah, we put on we're kind of doing a full-fledged sponsorship partnership sort of promotion thing. So we're working on those things now. We've got probably 10 or 15 signed up. Sponsors and a similar number of partners. Partners are sort of the unpaid guys that we work with every day, all the time. That we need, and they need us. We need them, and that's the league. CCM is a great partner of ours. You're a partner this year, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, G
right
Show
on.
Productions made the partner list, so there you go. I mean, you're big time now, pal. So we're good there. There's our friends at Terrico, they're a sponsor, of course, and there's many others. So we'll get into all that, and after the 26th, so we've got a kind of a deadline there. We need to be sort of up and running with our whatever logo marketing we've got for our good friends and the people that are helping us out. That's our first home game. And so we want to be prepared for that. We're working with XI Promotions in Crystal City, Manitoba to get all that done. They're great people. Talking to them. So that's fun. I know Carson McConnell does a whack of social media stuff. It's constant now, and Carson's moved on to he's got two jobs again, but he's not at the university. He's at the Keystone Center. I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here. He's at the Keystone Center in Brandon. He's working full time there, and he's working, I think, full time for us too on his off hours. So that 2 hour drive back and forth to from Brandon to Pilot Mound will he'll tear us ripping the road. So yeah, marketing's going all the time. We're trying to get our our logo out, our message out, and that helps us get better players and better quality players, not just on the hockey side, but better quality people too. So yeah, so lots of fun, lots going on.
Yeah, and shout out to Carson for putting in the work, and seems like he's putting in overtime these days, pretty by how you're describing it. But yeah, very honored and excited and privileged to be partnered with Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy this year officially, yes, and yourself, of course, the academy that is, and can't wait to see what's in store for this year 11. The recruiting side of things, Gordy. Throughout the teams in the academy, of course, there is that returning talent, but we're going to see some new faces, quite a few new faces this year in Pilot Mound. Last time we talked, which was about like 4 months ago now, we were talking about ID camps and talking about what the talent could look like throughout all four of these teams in the academy coming up for this season. Give us a bit of an update on that, on how things, these teams are shaping up so far.
Well, we're certainly we can fill the roster. That's the first thing. That's the good thing. We've got 20 players, or we can have 20 players. I think we've got one or two left spots that are still open here and there, just because we're trying to wait for some cuts to come down from junior hockey or some other places. So at the end of the day, there's just a couple spots open. Otherwise, we're pretty full. And having 80 players, we have a budget that requires 80 players. Food prices have not gone down. Fuel prices have not gone down. Costs a lot of money to do this academy thing, and that we all know that. And so, but we filled the roster, and I think we're going to be competitive against on all the teams. I think our girls team is just after this past weekend. We know we struggled a little bit, and but I think after they've only had three practices, and that Swift Current tournament just I think it's a week too soon for them, but we go out and play it anyway, and I guess they get to know each other, and it's a bonding thing. So good on them. But our teams are going to be competitive. We've got tough coaches and strong coaching, and I know that the returning players on all of our teams are keen to lead, and we've got some good leadership on the player side. So yeah, recruitment's been okay. We traditionally sort of replace about 50 players annually. Graduating kids out, kids moving on to different places, even though they haven't graduated, they've been signed by somebody else in an upper level, and that's a good thing. That's what we're here for, to get those kids to move forward. So, all in all, it's good. We are constantly looking for scouts. We are constantly uh, asking family advisors to stay and get in touch. We're building on those things all the time. It's a slow process, but nonetheless, we're working at it and we're getting better at it. So that bodes well for the future.
Yeah, and we have it actually in the description of this first episode of season three, but an ever-growing academy, which I don't think there's really an end in sight right now with this trajectory. It's looking real nice with how things are coming along, Gordy. This past weekend, as we've already mentioned, the U18 female group was in that Swift Current preseason showcase, a very early tournament on the schedule. I know a lot of female hockey teams, actually. Some of the AAA teams in the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League were in action as well, and some showcases and exhibition. But for this U18 female Buffaloes group specifically, a tough start to the season, but like you said, a great chance to bond at the very least early on in this 2025-2026 hockey campaign.
Yeah, girls are different. Well, we know girls are different than boys, and this means a lot to them. I think it means more to them than the boys. The boys just get along and they just go and do what they go and do. Boys are boys. Girls are, they're a tougher group to kind of. So they need to have this kind of time to kind of feel things out and get organized and get a program together amongst each other. They get chants and they get songs and they sing and they laugh and they. Boys don't do that. I mean, their boys are grumpy and they go they go to games. It's a whole different world. And I really appreciate the girls program and what they do because it's different. And sometimes I think it's a lot nicer and funner and all those things. So, but yeah, good bonding weekend. Yeah, we didn't get a goal. We got to figure out some offense. I think we got to get a new field goal kicker there so we can get some points on the board. But nonetheless, I know that Coach Carls and Kurt, assistant coach, will put them through their paces. They're going to Nebraska this weekend, I think, coming up. So hopefully, Midland has a tournament at college there. So that'll be good for them to see a place where we've got probably sent a half a dozen players over the last few years. So they're going to go see some Buffalo players that are there now, and maybe some pictures on the wall of previous players there. So good on them to get some good games in early, exhibition games, get their feet wet, and get going.
Yeah, and speaking of this U18 female group, we're actually going to be carrying some of their games on the the 19th to the 21st this month in Port La Prairie for the Central Plains Capital Showcase. Very excited for us to land that this year, but we'll touch on one last thing about the U18 female team before we end off our segment for this first episode. Gordie, a trend of ours when talking about this team has been talking about, I guess, the lack of scoring throughout the past few years.
Mhm.
The defense has shown up at points. The goaltending is always consistent. This team has some studs with the likes of Sadie Swanton, Kendra Carroll's returning to the lineup, and the list of others. But a young group once again. Lots of time for bonding, but in terms of the scoring, do you feel like from the group we see this year, we could finally maybe see an uptick there?
It would be my take that no, we're not going to see an uptick. I think we're going to have to be as good defensively as we've ever been. That may change, and I hope so. The back end of the team would love to have more goals for, just to give them a little breather once in a while, but that's okay. You learn to play hockey the best way you can. You learn to score goals when you get to a higher level. It's harder. You got to work harder. You got to get your hockey IQ going. You got to study more. You got to think more. You got to, learn to react quicker, and that's okay. And that helps them move to the next level, and that's what we're here for. So, yeah, goal scoring I think is going to be tough, at least in the beginning, and maybe it'll kick in a bit later. In the meantime, we've got to be really tough on the back end.
Yeah, and I mean, a new season, Gordy, a new opportunity for one of these players, or maybe a few, maybe the whole group collectively to maybe step things up in
Yeah.
the offensive category this year. But we'll have to wait and see to find out. U18 female buffs back in action coming up this weekend in Nebraska. The other three academies, well, it's all about preparations for now as they get set for what should be another great 2025-2026 season. Gordie Tumilson of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy joining this edition of the Buffs podcast. Gordie, always great to have you on. Nice to be back here, I'd say so myself.
Yes, it is, Graham. It's great, and thank you for having me again. And we look forward to doing this every week for the next million weeks. And next, I think on the 26th, from the weekend of the 26th, we'll be able to show off our sponsors right here. Hopefully on the banner on the bottom or in signage that'll be in the room. We'll figure something out, and we look forward to a great hockey season for our poor teams.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome back to the Buffaloes podcast here on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Gordie Tumilson recently joining this edition of the show. We talked about the U18 female program a bit just to recap what their matchups were. They took on the Swift Current Wildcats, a AAA team, the U16 Team Saskatchewan Green team. That was the matchup on the Saturday morning. And then on the Sunday morning, they faced off against the Medicine Hat College Rattlers. All of those games were down in Swift Current. This weekend, they're back in action, as me and Gordie talked about. Going down to Fremont, Nebraska, as they'll be taking on university programs in terms of Jamestown, and a doubleheader against Midland on the Saturday and the Sunday. A great opportunity early here in the season for this U18 female program, as they so often do, to be able to check out these university facilities, play on university ice, and wishing them the best of luck heading into this weekend. Hoping the effort is all there from this U18 squad. Just a reminder once again, all home games have been released the schedule for 2 of the 4 programs here in the academy, both for the U15s and for the U17s. As per Pilot Mountain social media, these schedules are subject to change potentially throughout the season, so be sure to check back on Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's website at pilotmountainhockeyacademy.com, as well as here on the Buffaloes podcast, as we'll have you up to date all season long. Hoping that the U15s get some home games added on as the season goes along in the 2026 portion of the schedule, because yeah, it's going to be a lot of time spent on the road otherwise. But as for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, it was back to school a few weeks ago now, truly in the full swing of things in terms of just regular ice times, practicing with each other, and of course the U18 female program has already gotten into some competitive organized game action. Many games to follow as this month goes along and as this season goes along. Can't wait to report all of it here on the Buffaloes podcast in 2025-2026. As for the hockey development side of things, can't wait to see what that announcement is going to be coming up in a few weeks' time here, as Nichole Collins dropped that bomb early on in this episode. Thank you to her for being a guest on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. We can't wait to update you all on what we got in store as this season goes along, and can't wait to cover an academy which saw 3 of their 4 programs go to championship games last year in Penticton in the playoffs. Now that may not happen again this year. It's hard to replicate that, but it would be awesome to see it. And no matter what, these 4 programs are going to give it their all until the very end. As for us at G-Show Productions, we're going to be back next Wednesday, as it's going to be quite a busy week. So we haven't quite decided what the show time is going to be as of yet for next week, but after next week, regular show time is going to be Wednesdays at noon for this podcast, the Buffaloes podcast, in 2025-2026. A few hours up from last year's starting times, which was early in the morning at 8 a.m. But schedules changed a bit this year. Even though we got a lot more going on, we also have a few more days open in terms of how we're operating things to have our content start a little bit later in the day. You had a chance to see Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia on this show as our main sponsor for this episode. Terrico is also going to be a sponsor again for us this season, supporting and continuing to support Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy hockey. Rumor has it that Goaltenders is making a return. You'll see their logo next week. And yeah, we also have a gym that's joining us as a partner this year too. So lots of exciting stuff behind the scenes here at G-Show Productions. As for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, the female squad, they'll be back in action this weekend in Fremont, Nebraska. The other teams in the academy continue to prepare and get ready for their exhibition and regular season schedules. Until next time, though, folks, 7 days from now. I've been your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. Check in on our social media pages, on our Instagram specifically, as well as on our website at gshow.ca under the upcoming events tab for details and when next week's episode will come out. Until next time, though, Tyson Unruh, Juno Award winner, will send us off with our March of the Buffaloes theme. As always, take care, everybody. So long, Buffaloes Nation. Until next Wednesday. We'll see you then.